into A Medical Girl Mystical World. Today we are going to be hanging out with Dr. April Warhola, and she is the owner of the Cafe of Life Chiropractic Center, where she works on humans as well as animals. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here.
I am too. So tell me how you got, this is going to be my first chiropractic experience. I've worked with several people that have had this done and swear by the work that you guys do. So I was like, you know what? It's time for me to try it. So for this episode, we're going to chat with you for a little while, but also you guys are going to go with me through my experience of having this done. So I'm really excited. So tell me how you got into this work.
And I would like to also say that this is one of my greatest honors. I see a lot of people in the office who have never been to a chiropractor before, and I take that as a very high honor. So I'm really, really happy to have you today.
Yay, thank you.
My grandfather was a chiropractor, and he was one of the, maybe not the founding group of chiropractors, but he was definitely in the chiropractic profession when it wasn't so common and wasn't so well known. This is a way that I grew up. And what I mean by that is I didn't have a regular pediatrician. I didn't go to a traditional doctor when I was sick or when something was going on. My mother would take my sisters and I to a chiropractor, although it wasn't necessarily him because he lived in a different state. We would go see our chiropractor for anything and everything. We would go for wellness. We would go if we had a cough, a cold, an ear infection, or if we just didn't feel good. So that's really, it was my primary, chiropractors were my primary care physicians throughout my life.
That is so unique. So I'm really interested in explain to me how that is, because coming from being Western trained medicine, or trained in Western medicine, it fascinates me that how you can is it manipulations of the body to help with the healing process for those different ailments, or kind of tell me how that works, because, coming from with me, if a patient came to me and was like, okay, and this is with me practicing as a nurse practitioner, but now I do energy work, so I don't necessarily treat or diagnose right now. But when I was practicing in private practice, they would tell me their list of symptoms and everything, and then I would try to figure out what was going on with them, what would work best for them, and sometimes that would incorporate medications and stuff like that. So tell me, from the chiropractic point of view, what are you looking at, and how does that all relate to get us where we're healing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good question.
Thank you.
So as a chiropractor, I am very interested in allowing your body to be functioning at the optimum. Okay. So in the reverse of what's wrong with you, and let's try to figure out how to mend or correct that symptom or ailment, we believe that the body is self-healing. The body is amazing. I see this every day. I'm always, what keeps me alive is just every day and keeps me walking in the door is that, like, wow, the body is amazing. It can do so much when we give it the right information. So a body that has a full functioning immune system can usually heal on its own through an ailment. You have to feed the body the right ingredients, and then it stays well. It can get well and stay well. So as a chiropractor, I am looking at the nervous system more so than the actual bones. And where in this nervous system is there stress? Where in the nervous system is the body maybe not functioning at its optimum? And giving input, we call that the chiropractic adjustment, giving input or an adjustment into those areas where they're lacking that full communication, allows the body to reconnect, to rebalance, and boost the immune system, boost the digestive systems, boost the cardiovascular systems. So I'm not actually looking to address the area that needs adjusted and tell it what to do. I'm actually just feeding it positive feedback through the neurology and through that nervous system to allow it to be high functioning.
That's so fascinating to me. And one of the things that I see too is that people need to do their own work for us, like eating right, being well hydrated, abstaining from, excessive alcohol use, smoking, all that kind of things. What do you tell your patients so that they can kind of do that they can do for themselves to keep them at optimal health, where you're not having to see them every week?
Yeah.
Does that happen where they become dependent on you to say, okay, fix me kind of thing? Or do you really incorporate a lot of education for them to do their self-work and their self-healing?
Here, my philosophy is I want you to be able to do this work without me. Mm-hmm. Now, I believe that everybody benefits from chiropractic care, mm-hmm. and I believe we live in a world where stress exists. So it's really challenging to say, you do it perfectly and never see me again. I think that's why healers and doctors exist, mm-hmm. because sometimes we need a little facilitation to get us like over the hump, or to get us to break through that part that is difficult for us to do on our own. Mm-hmm. So in my first visit especially, I do address in the intake and in our conversation, mm-hmm. what is it that you eat? How often do you take a vacation? Mm-hmm. What is your primary stress? What are your symptoms? What are the things you're coming in with? Where is the pain in your body? Mm-hmm. I want to know about past stressors. I want to know about the things you've gone through that are emotional, mm-hmm. deep losses. Do you have an angry boss that yells at you every day? Mm-hmm. Do you love your life? Is your life balanced? Do you eat well? Mm-hmm. Those things are all very important. And I'm able to identify for most people where those things are imbalanced. Mm-hmm. And certainly along with the adjustments that I provide, I like to give somebody one thing, ask them to change one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. And that's part of my job, is to identify maybe that place where there is stuckness in their nervous system or in their entire body, mm-hmm. Because of something that maybe they're hiding from themselves. Maybe they can't see it, or maybe it's the obvious thing that they just need someone else to ask them to change, to identify it for them.
Right. Somebody that's objectively come in. And it sounds really a lot what you do. It's very similar to what I do with energy work. When people are coming in and they're like, well, I'm stressed about this, this, and this, but then also my lower back does, and I'm like, okay, well, that's your root chakra or your sacral chakra. Okay, let's explore that. And when I bring in those emotional components too, it's like, okay, this all fits together, so I know exactly where to do that. So it's a lot of the same thing. It's just a different modality, I guess, and a different technique.
Yes, I have come to find that there are so many people that are actually looking to achieve the same end point. And that's why this healing center exists for me, is because it's like, I started off thinking chiropractic was the only philosophy, mm-hmm. that looked to this wholeness and said, let's integrate this and let's help, attune the body to the balance. Mm-hmm. But that was me, 15 years ago, being a little naive and immature. And now, I think yogis do the same thing. I think that Reiki masters do similar. I think acupuncturists are looking to achieve the same thing. Mm-hmm. There's so many healing modalities. The difference in chiropractic is that we are going straight into the nervous system. And it's pretty powerful in that way.
I know. I can't wait for you to work on me. Yeah. Tell me about your center here for Cafe of Life.
Yeah, the Cafe of Life was created as a place where like-minded practitioners could come offer healing in a holistic way. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of beautiful practitioners under the roof. We've had many beautiful people along the years. Mm-hmm. Currently we have type bodywork practitioners. We've got massage therapists. There are 3 chiropractors in the office. Mm-hmm. I have a beautiful lady that does at-home births. She sees her clients during their appointments. They don't give birth here, just to mm-hmm. clarify.
She's a doula?
She's a midwife.
Midwife, okay.
Mm-hmm. We have a natural nail salon. We've got psychiatrists and therapists in the building. We also have a meditation center here.
That's fantastic.
So, we're all individual businesses who participate together in the greater good for people in their healing process, wherever they might be.
I love that. And you also have animals here as well, and you incorporate animals into your work, because you do go with yoga. I mean, yoga with goats. I mean,
we don't actually do that, but that is a very fun thing. We might add that to our curriculum.
Okay.
Just within this past year, part of the vision for the space was to have animals on the property, mm-hmm. As part of people's healing, and also to teach about eating and locally sourced eggs and milk and gardens. So in the back, we have 10 hens, we've got 3 goats, we've got 3 beehives, and we've also got some gardens back there. We eventually want to expand that out as well, but that's a place for the community to go and just have some peace and appreciate the animals back there.
That's wonderful. And another thing that Dr. April does is she does chiropractic work on animals as well. So tell me a little bit about that.
Chiropractic for animals is probably the most unique thing I do, and it brings so much joy to me and the animals. I think that actually doing the work on the animals teaches people, because I can't ask an animal where they hurt, and they don't come in for back pain per se, although there are dogs that come in with hip dysplasia and ailments that are similar or mimic something that's happening in a human. They can't tell me exactly where that is. And that's where chiropractors really rely on their sense of touch. That's part of our practice. That's part of our schooling. To be able to identify where the disconnections are with our hands. And in animals, they give us clues and cues, but mostly I'm looking for subluxation. Subluxation is the word chiropractic uses for the interference in the nervous system, that place where we would put an adjustment in. And we identify those places and adjust into those places. And it's really that simple. So, can I tell you one dog story?
Tell me a dog story.
Okay. So we had one little dog, a Dachshund. So even if you're not a dog person, most people know these dogs because they're referred to maybe as like hot dogs or wiener dogs. They're the short ones with the short legs. They've got little round bodies that are long. This dog came in when I walked back into the room. His owner was sitting back there, and the dog had all 4 legs under its body. So, jokingly, it really did look like a little sausage. And the not funny part was it was laying like that because it had lost use of all 4 of its limbs.
Oh, my goodness.
It started with the front 2, and then the back 2 within 2 weeks also lost function. And the owner had a German Shepherd previously that he brought to a chiropractor that really helped him towards the end of his life. So in desperation, he brought him in here. And I, again, just felt the dog's spine and nervous system, found one area that was subluxated in the middle of its back, adjusted into that area. I opened up his legs, set him down on the ground, and he stood. So that was the first time that his owner had even, seen him stand up in about 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
So he was a little wobbly. He did a little wobbly movement. I asked the owner to take him home, let him rest, and bring him back in a couple days. So the owner comes out to the front desk to pay and reschedule his appointment. And he walked the dog. He set the dog outside in our front yard because he knew he wasn't going to go anywhere. And by the time he had paid his bill and rescheduled his appointment, he looked out and little Chester was walking around the front yard. And the
wonderful.
Second visit that he came in, he actually ran back to the office to greet me.
Oh.
So, it just debunks that place. You look at chiropractic is so much more than, eliminating back pain. And if it was just about back pain, how did that adjustment in the middle of this dog's back allow 4 legs to work again? So it's definitely, there's definitely something much deeper in there than just that.
That's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's one of my favorites.
I love it. Okay, so I think we're going to get started and start the process with me having my first experience here at the Cafe of Life.
Great.
With Dr. April. So we'll be right back. Okay, so Dr. April went through my history and we talked for a little while, and she identified places, she felt my spine and identified places that need to be adjusted. So if you want to tell them what areas we're going to work on, and then we'll go through the adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was happy to take Julia's life history and do a spinal assessment. I think some of the biggest things we found to work on today for today's first visit, Julia had a little bit of what I call oversympathetic dominance. That can happen in a system, in a body that has undergone trauma. If there's fear, worry, those are some of the emotional components. It can also happen a lot in our society due to sugar, caffeine, anything that stimulates the body. And as we were discussing, the body's only intended to stay in that oversympathetic place for a few minutes. That's a really archaic part of our nervous system that allows us to escape or get away when we're in a dangerous situation. Then we're supposed to come back to the opposite of that, which is parasympathetic, which is rest and relaxation. So when you're in sympathetic, the body cannot do healing and restoration. So what we want to do today is help Julia's system just to decompress and come back down into that beautiful parasympathetic state so that her body can start doing some deep healing.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go, you guys. There might be some loud pops. We'll see. Be with me on this. We're going to do good. Okay.
All right, so Julia, I'll have you start off just laying face down on the table.
Okay. And she put some aromatherapy on here for me, so I'm really excited. I think I got the peace one.
Yeah, perfect. And there's a little bar up there over the face rest that you can rest your hands on.
Okay.
Great. All right, so as we talked about a little bit, there's a technique in chiropractic that I'm going to use just to start preparing Julia's body to go into that parasympathetic state. And to do that, to get started today, I'm going to connect with her sacral tuberous ligament. That ligament just rests right inside of here. And I usually check them side to side. This ligament is tight, and this ligament actually spans the whole length of the spine, and it connects all the way up to the occiput. So it's very important in that breathing mechanism between the sacrum here and the occiput up here. So for the next moment, Julia, I'm going to have you just take some nice deep breaths right between my thumbs here, and we're just going to do some breathing to help her body start to relax. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually feeling for the pulses to match between my thumbs and her spine at every vertebral level here. Alright, keep the breath moving all the way up to the top here. So I'm not sure if you can see this in the video or not, but just as an interesting note, if you watch her breath in the body, you can see the breath happening right here, but we can't really see the breath moving up in this direction. I've already noted a subluxated area right here that we talked about during the assessment. That's a place I'm going to adjust. So after the adjustment, if you guys in our audience will remind me, we'll come back and have her lay down again and see if that breath changes, okay? All right, so I'm going to just move right into rechecking the pelvis here with her laying on her belly. What we noted during the assessment was this hip was rocked a little bit forward and this one was rocked a little bit back. So we're going to do some adjustments to create balance within that structure. So I'm going to do two different adjustments here. For this side, I'm going to use the drop underneath her. These drops are actually designed to just dissipate the energy so that the energy of the adjustment doesn't get stuck in her body, but that it just goes right through. So Julia, for you to feel, this piece is just going to come up underneath you. And when I put the force in of the adjustment, the table will drop down, okay? And it will make a sound. The table will when it drops, okay?
Okay.
So we're going to start right here and do our first adjustment. And then for your second adjustment, are you good there?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to have you face me now on your side. So lay it on the table like you're laying on a bench, this way, facing me.
See, I didn't. Did y'all hear a snap?
You probably won't hear anything with that just because of the noise of the table.
You like this, or you want me to flip all the way over?
You're on your side just perfectly, and I'm going to help you through how to get set up here.
Y'all get to see me in all different kinds of angles. I'm like a noodle. She's moving.
All right.
Now I'm a pretzel.
Yeah, and this adjustment you're going to feel. I'm going to show you where you're going to feel it. Do you feel that right there?
I do. I felt that in my upper back though too.
Yep, that's where we're going to adjust you here. So for this one, I'm going to bring you over towards me.
Okay.
You may feel like you're tipping off the table, but right at that moment, I'm going to put the adjustment in. I've never dropped anybody, okay? So don't try to reach out to hold yourself on the table. Just breathe into your back and let go here. So breathing is important. Good. You heard that one, right?
I felt that one.
And you felt it in your system. So now you can lay on your back.
Okay.
I want you to definitely feel that. So breathe into your pelvic area.
That was so cool.
Take a deep breath, actually. That released a lot of that sacral energy. Yeah.
I'm going to be floating on the ceiling in a minute, y'all. Check it out.
And whenever you're ready, you can sit at the end of the table.
Okay.
Wow. So come on down so your feet are flat on the floor. All right, I just put a little extra support behind you for this adjustment because the table's quite soft. This is a little firmer, so it just assists me in the adjustment.
Okay.
So this is that area right underneath your scapula that you were noting you actually felt some maybe pain, but it just felt uncomfortable as well.
Right.
For this adjustment, you get to give yourself a nice big hug.
Yay!
Yeah. You're going to tuck your chin to your chest. And then right here, you're going to lay back on the table with me, and you're going to end up laying on my hand. Let your head rest all the way back there on the table. Beautiful. And from here, I'm going to give you a little bear squeeze, and that's going to open up this area of the body. Perfect.
Wow. Did y'all hear that? I did. That was some bend and snap right there.
All right. And just for fun, real quick, I'm going to have you lay back down on your belly, and we're going to see if that changed how much the breath could move through your body. Okay?
So go face down?
Face down, just like you were to start with. Head here, and your hands right there on the bars.
Yeah, I can tell a big difference with that one.
Good. All right. So just go ahead like we did before and see if you can breathe between my fingers here. We'll just see if that breath really goes through any further. So you can see big breath here, and you can see just the smallest bit of rise and fall right here in the body. So that's something that I'm going to keep an eye on with her consecutive visits. That's something we can definitely change. Breath is life, and that breath moving through her whole system is very important. And sometimes that breath gets stuck or stored in the system, just like anything else can. So I'm going to really work on helping her bring that breath all the way up into the upper back. But I do love that we already see change there. That's a really good sign. Yay. Okay. So now whenever you're ready, you can lay on your back. Okay. All right. This will be the final adjustment for today's visit.
Okay.
And this is the adjustment up in the atlas, which is the top bone in the spine. And this in the nervous system, I could easily argue to be the most important area as being almost the master communicator of the whole rest of the body. As I've already told Julia, this also comes with this sound that happens in the body. Really inherently doesn't have any meaning. It's just some gas being released in the joint. But when it's next to your ears, it can sound very dramatic to her, and I'm sure that we might hear something as well, but I'm not really attached to that sound. It's just more of a heads up for anybody that's receiving their first adjustment because it can be startling. All right. And for you, for this adjustment, there's actually nothing that you need to do at all. I just ask that you really do breathe and connect with this, and even afterwards, I'm going to stay with you and continue to connect with you for a bit.
Do I need to do anything?
You don't need to do anything at all.
Okay.
So again, like in the pelvis where we just find that joint space, that's going to be right there for you.
I'm sorry. This is like, okay.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You are good to go.
Yay! I did it! And let me see if I can get up now.
Yeah. Let me help you up.
Thank you.
Good.
How do I look, everybody? Besides crazy hair. I feel good. I really felt that one, especially that one here. I'm going to be like moving around all over the place when I leave here. To find out more about Dr. April, what is it? What is the website that they can look at?
Thank you. Come Thrive With Me is our website for Cafe of Life.
Okay, so comethrivewithme.com?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, you guys, thanks for being with me during my first chiropractic adjustment, and welcome to season 2. Yay! See you soon. Bye.